how are hemp-focused businesses being regulated versus cannabis? And then he asked about hemp-derived Delta-9 being integrated into beverages. Well, the Farm Bill is up for renegotiation. It was supposed to be signed in 2023. It's every 5 years. They are considering not even, there's no proposals for it to come out in 2024. It should have come out sometime like a draft in March. There's no draft. So as long as they can keep funding, passing these sort of funding bills, they don't have to come up with another farm bill. So there are people in the industry that believe that it's the next one's going to be in 2025. And by that point, the federal government will have come to the realization with what they did in 2020, 2018, with the legalizing of all these other alphabetical cannabinoids, THCA, THCV, Delta 8, Delta 10, all of Delta 9 derived from hemp, all of those basically different state, because although it is federally legal, hemp is federally legal, 0.3% or less of Delta 9 THC, that's federally legal to cross state lines. Each state is sort of catching on to these intoxicating hemp elements. So hemp-derived Delta-9 now being in beverages, right? Minnesota was one of the states that like it was sort of a free-for-all. Well, there's a bill being passed right now, and it's got through the House, that they're going to put an age requirement on this. They're going to sort of rein it back in a way, because all of these products are out on the marketplace, unregulated by the FDA, and some are largely unregulated by their states. So California currently has a bill that has been proposed in order to integrate the hemp businesses and all of these intoxicating hemp programs into the cannabis industry, because it's sort of created this parallel universe for hemp, and they can have these intoxicating products on the market directly competing with cannabis and all of their high licensing and regulations. So it seems like it's an open market, and it is, but I would argue that state legislators are catching on, are prohibiting it, are banning it, regulating it in some way, or trying to combine it with the already legal cannabis systems that may exist in that state. Long-winded
Yeah.
answer.
It's
But
like when we wrote the legal weed book, like the first version of it, like in 2017, one of the chapters was hemp, the great conundrum, or the great hemp conundrum. And it's like we're still there. We're still in the great hemp conundrum. And now we're still trying to figure it all out. And it's just the reverse of cannabis in the sense that it was federally legal, and then the states are the ones that are now enforcing, versus cannabis being federally illegal and states being the ones that were not going to enforce on it. I think overall, everybody just wants transparency, some regulatory commitment. And when the Farm Bill was passed, there was this sort of like fallacy created where we created two different definitions of cannabis, for cannabis and hemp, and they're the same plant, identical. So really, we're never going to get to sort of like homogeneity or like, understanding until we have just, combine the two plants, which is what California has done to a certain extent in this new bill that Alexis was referencing, and trying to attack it by qualifying what's a intoxicating cannabinoid versus not, and having some sort of subjective element there, which is going to be hard to enforce. So, every kind of like 3 months, we have a flavor of the month cannabinoid. Right now, it's THCA is having a big moment. And that one's really tricky to analyze. But I think it's a really good question, like what is going to happen between the two markets? And I'm hoping that at some point it'll just converge into kind of like one system where everybody is not subjected to strenuous regulations. So cannabis, maybe they could lighten it up a little bit. Hemp, they could kind of like strengthen it a little bit. But like Alexa said, the Farm Bill wasn't signed last year. I've heard from experts that they're skeptical of it getting signed this year. I think that the motivation for signing it might be some of this like enforcement issue, and kind of clarifying what to do with these extra cannabinoids that are actually psychoactive, or have those impacts, but they're not technically illegal.
Some argue that the federal government already legalized cannabis with the 2018 Farm Bill, so they just don't know it. Or now they know it.